Hello and welcome back to another lesson of the 2019 GED course. This is this is decimal operations. So let's go ahead and get started with the key ideas. Always add and subtract like place value columns. Always line up the decimal points when you write a problem in columns. When adding or subtracting, place the decimal point in the answer directly below the decimal point in the problem. Let me go ahead and brighten up my cursor here. So let's read that last one more time. When adding or subtracting, place the decimal point in the answer directly below the decimal point in the problem. Okay, so addition and subtraction. Adding decimals is much like adding whole numbers. The trick is to make sure you have lined up the place value columns correctly. You can do this by writing the numbers in a column and carefully lining up the decimal points. Okay, so when they say, well, let's go ahead and read this. Write the numbers in columns lining up the decimal points. So you can see these numbers here, 0.37, 13.5, 2.638. So what they want you to do here, regardless of, as you can see, 3.5, it's only one digit after the 5, okay? Regardless, you would line up these decimal points if you're creating a column. See what they did here? They lined up all the decimal points in the 3.5. They added 0 and 0, 2 zeros, just as placeholders. Doesn't add any value to this number, but just, I guess you could say, makes it more structured and neat. Otherwise it would be a bit jagged if there was just this 5, but then 3 digits here and then an additional digit here where the 7 is. So that's how they went ahead and do it. So you may add placeholder zeros so that the decimals have the same number of decimal places. So that's what they did. These are called placeholders. Add. Start on the right and add each column. Regroup or carry as you would with whole numbers. Basically, this is really the same thing as just adding a regular number without decimal points, like strictly a whole number or whole numbers. You just simply do the same carrying and borrowing and stuff. You simply just have to have the decimal point here. Otherwise, there's not much of a difference. But you definitely do need the decimal point because it changes the value of the actual number. If this had no decimal point, it would be 16,508. Right now, it's only 6.508. Okay, so that's for addition. To find the difference between decimals, write the numbers in a column with the greater number on top. Make sure the decimal points are in a line. Example 2. Find the difference between 14.512 and 8.7. So this is for subtraction. Okay, write the numbers in a column, lining up the decimal points. Add placeholder zeros so that the numbers have the same number of decimal places. So here you can see they actually require you to put zeros, whereas here they suggest it for the addition. You may add placeholder zeros. For the subtraction, they say add placeholder zeros. Okay, it's still, theoretically not necessary, because if you can imagine, there were these 2 zeros were missing. You could, theoretically go 2 minus 0. If the 0 wasn't there, 2 minus nothing is 2, and bring 2 there. 1 minus nothing is 1, and bring it there. And then this is where the real subtraction would start. Well, as far as real, as in possibly carrying and borrowing, all that stuff, regrouping. Okay, so then subtract, regroup, or borrow as needed. Place the decimal point in the answer directly in line with the decimal point in the problem. Okay, so you always need to line up the decimal points as well as in the answer as well. No specific reason other than you just need to do it that way, otherwise the number will turn out incorrect. Okay, the greater number may have fewer or no decimal places. In the next example, a decimal is subtracted from a whole number. Okay, so as you can see here, though this number looks larger, it's actually smaller because this is a whole 9, okay, a whole number 9, and this is a whole number 3, you know, with basically fractions of another whole number. So 9 is larger than 3, so that's basically what they're saying. So if you were to do this, you'd still put the larger number on top, as they do here, 9, but then you would need to add as many placeholder zeros here as there are additional digits beyond the decimal point in the number that you're subtracting, or the number that is being subtracted from, or the number that you're using to subtract from. Okay, so and then again, like you typically would subtract as if the decimal point did not exist, you do the same exact method here. And we'll actually get to that because there's some practice on the next page. So then again, it's important to line up the decimal point, because if not, that will change the value of the number. Okie doke, so on to page 2 where we'll actually practice this. So, okay, solve. You may not use a calculator. Well, that's okay because we don't need one because we're all super smart. I'm not going to do all of these. I'll do like one addition from each different row, one addition and one subtraction from each different row. Okay, so 4.0, this is number 1 by the way, 4.025. Excuse the sloppiness, I am using a mouse here. 3.0, sorry, that's not a 0, that's a 9. 3.971. So simple, same as regular adding. So 5 plus 1 is 6, 2 plus 7 is 9, 0 plus 9 is 9, 4 plus 3 is 7. Where do we put the decimal point? Let's see. Well, we keep it in line with decimal points up on top. Okay, let's try 7 over here, since that looks a little more unique than, oh actually that's an addition one, so let's go with 10. Okay, so 3.8 minus 2.905. Okay, so Houston, we have a problem. How can we do this? Because there's not enough digits here. What are we going to do? Okay, well, we add zeros. Remember, these are called placeholders. They don't actually add any value to this number. Any basically past the decimal point, any zeros that are at the end do not really matter. So what I mean by that is, you can see there's 0 here and a 0 there. If there was, for example, 5 over here, then these zeros would matter because they're placeholders to tell the place value of this 5. Otherwise, if the zeros weren't there and the 5 was here, it would have a different value. Okay? But since there's just zeros on the end, really it's the same number as if there were no zeros. But we use them anyways as placeholders. So we can't do 0 minus 5, so we need to borrow from this, but we can't borrow from that because it is too small. Well, it's nothing. And we can't borrow from this one because we're going to need actually to borrow from the 3 because for this calculation. So we'll just start all the way from the left. Okay, so 3, borrow from there, make that a 2. And this becomes 18. But we need to borrow from that 18. Okay, so this becomes a 17. And put the 1 there. Now this becomes a 10. Reason why I say 10 is because I add this 1 here with this 0 to make it a 10. Okay, so it's no longer a 10 because we need to borrow for this number. So we make this a 9. Then 1 and 0, not 1 plus 0, but 1 in front of a 0. That's just helps us remember this is a 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 0 is 9. 17 minus 9 is 8. And 2 minus 2 is 0. So this is our answer right here. We don't really need to put a 0 here because it has no significance. Okay, so that was that. Let's go ahead and erase this. Okay, so from another row, we shall pick this one, number 8. So 4.07 plus 1.047. This is addition, okay? Now remember on the previous page it did say, it suggested that you put a placeholder here. It didn't really require it. We'll put it anyways just for the fun of it because it's so fun to do extra work. So 0, I was about to say 0 minus 7, but this addition. So 0 plus 7 is 7. 7 plus 4 is 12. So we can't put 12 there because we can only take this place value here. So we will carry the 1, okay, and just leave the 2 here. 0 plus 0 is 0, but we have the 1, so add the 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, staying alive. This is your answer, isn't it great? We're keeping the decimal in line with these same place values. You can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, let's see. We shall do number 11. 14.64 minus, Your Highness, 10 8.8. Now I'm feeling great. Feeling great about my cheesy little jokes. Okay, so again, you know, with subtraction, they demand you put 0. Here it goes. So 4 minus 0 is 4, obviously. 6 minus 8 does not work. So steal from the 4, make it a 3. This now becomes 16. 1 in front of a 6 is 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. Because 8 is half of 16. 3 minus 0 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. So unnecessary to put the 0 there. So we put, if we're thinking, oh, do I put decimal point here? No, we don't. We keep it in line. Okay. 384 is your answer. Okay, that should pretty much give you the gist of it. I know I said I was going to do one from each row, but well, let me do this one here real quick for you because that's something we have not encountered yet. A whole number minus a decimal. So 10, either way though, it's the same thing. 10. So this is how we would line this up. We would assume that the decimal point would be here because a whole number is to the left of the decimal point. Okay, always to the left of the decimal point. We know this is a whole number because we don't see a decimal point here, or we don't see a decimal point here. So we know that 10 is a whole number. Okay, so we would know that decimal point is right over here. So when setting up the 7.89, we take that into account. Since the 7 is the whole number right before decimal point, we put it with this number here, and since they have the same place value, it's the ones place. 0.89. And again, as they demanded we add zeros here, we shall do so. And we shall minus 9 from 0. No, we shan't, because we can't. So since these are all zeros, we're going to need to borrow from this one. So that becomes 0. Then this becomes a 10, but let's cross out this 10. Make it a 9, since we need to borrow for this one too. This becomes a 10. No, it doesn't. It becomes a 9, because we need to borrow for this 0. There we go. So 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 7 is 2. And 0 minus 0, nothing is nothing. Okay, again, we line up the decimal points. Okay, there we go. Since decimal point is, you know, has two digits, has a tenths and hundredths, we know that it's after this tenths and hundredths or before it. Okay, if we didn't have this to measure up here, we'd know that. Nevertheless, it was before the tenths place. Okay, now let's do some more fun stuff. Okay, so these here, they want us to put into columns. They don't say that, but that's pretty much what they want us to do because they want to make it difficult for us and they want us to do more work. Okay, so let's pick a few of these. I'll pick Let's see, I'll pick some of the hardest ones, or longest, just since I'm only going to give examples and not do all of them. So 0, we're doing 18 by the way. And we have to put these in columns. So 0.45. Okay. 1.8. Okay, always line up the decimal points. 1.8. Even if there's not enough digits, okay, to have the same place as other numbers. So 0.0, that's the worst 0 I've ever drawn. Actually, it looks more like a D. Okay, let's not focus on that. Let's just focus on how good of a math teacher I am. Just joking. Okay, let's see. So that's addition. We can add a 0 here to keep the place. So let's add 5 plus 7. Such a difficult number to add. Okay, so that's I know it's 12, but a lot of times I'll do the bigger numbers first, and then 5 is easy to tack on to any number. So we'll just do that. 7 plus 6, 13, plus 5 is 18. Okay. Is that a 0 or a D? That's right, it's a 0. Okay, 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13, plus 5 is 18. So now, let's see. Typically, I would just put decimal right here, right now, but we'll save that. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus another 2 is 4. Okay, and we know we need to keep the decimal place in line here. Okay, so the answer to that is 4.88. Okay, let's do one of these subtraction problems. Let's do 25 minus 10,984. So again, when you're doing subtraction, put the biggest number on top. Okay, because you can't subtract a small number, a large number from a small number. So we put 25. Okay. And then underneath that, we know that the decimal point would be right here. Okay, because this is a whole number. The decimal point always comes after the whole number. So then we have 10,984. So right away we can know where they will line up. The decimal points will line up. 10, 9, 8, 4. Again, with addition, unnecessary to put zeros up top. You would really just put 4 here, 8 here, and 9 here, since you're not adding them to anything. But just for the sake of it, I'm going to put the zeros here. 0 plus 4 is 4. 0 plus 8 is 8. Let me fix that 4 a little. 0 plus 9 is 9. Then put decimal point. 5 plus 0 is 5. You know what? Sorry guys, this was not addition. The whole reason we picked this was because it was subtraction. And in one of the other lessons I did mention, be careful when you're doing the test, because you may be in the mindset of doing addition when it's actually subtraction. Okay, so forgive me. So you definitely do need to put zeros up here for subtraction. So we know, since these are all zeros, we'll need to borrow from the first first whole number, assuming that there is room to borrow from it, as in it's larger than the number below it. So we steal from that, we make it a 4. This becomes a 10, but we need to borrow, so it becomes a 9. We borrowed it for this bad boy. That became a 10, but we still need to borrow for the other 0, so this becomes a 9. And now we're left with 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 9, see, 9 minus 9 is 0. Put decimal point, same place as soon as you reach it. 4 minus 0 is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. So that's your answer to number 20. Okay? So that's all I'm going to show you for those, because otherwise this video is going to be a lot longer than most likely you would like it to be. Let's see. Okay. B. Choose the one best answer to each question. James ran 3 miles. His times for the individual miles were 7.2 minutes, 6.8 minutes, 8.25 minutes. How long did it take him in minutes to run the 3-mile distance? So again, it's figuring out what we need to do, what type of math we need to do to figure out story problems. So this is obviously multiplication, because each individual mile, they give you time for each individual mile. They're asking you how long it took to run the collective 3 miles. So 7.2, that's terrible 2. That is a thing, terrible 2s, by the way. 8.25, remember, we know that this 5 goes way out here, because the decimal point is all that matters, lining them up. Then, sorry, I put 8.25, but I skipped right over 6.8. That should have been next, but it doesn't really matter with addition. So there we go. We could put zeros as placeholders, but I'm not going to do that. So 5 plus nothing is 5. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 8 is 12. Carry the 1, put the 2 here. As soon as we get to decimal place, put a decimal. This will be easy. I'd like to add the 1 to the 6 to make it a 7. So 7 plus 7 is 14. 7 plus 7 is 14. Plus 8 is 22. And that is your terrific answer. 22.25. Let's see if they have that. Yes, they do. A is your answer. Okay. Now, Claudia earns overtime pay each week. No, overtime pay when she works more than 40 hours in 1 week. How many hours of overtime did she work for the week of March? Let's see. Okay, so we have this week, this whole week here, it's asking how many hours. So, wait. Did she work for the week of March 4? I guess, yeah. I guess that's what it's trying to say, this whole thing here. So, she worked 8.5 first day. She worked 9.25. Remember, line up the decimals. And she worked 8.75 another day. She is getting mad overtime. Whew. Wish I was Claudia. I can be whatever I want to be. Okay, 10 another day. So 10, don't get deceived by this. Okay, 10 is over here since it's a whole number. Decimal's always to the right. And another day she worked 7 hours and 0.75. For those of you that don't know your fractions, that is 7 3/4 of an hour. 7 hours and 3/4. Okay, so since there's so many numbers, I'll just put zeros here to keep our sanity. Okay, so 0 plus, okay, well, 5, 5, 5, no, that's 15, carry the 1. Okay, 5 plus 1 is 6, 7, 8. Actually, let's do 14 right here. 14, 15, 16, 17. I skipped over the 5. 17 plus 5, 22. So we'll carry the 2. But we got up to decimal point, so we put it. Okay, 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 9 is 19, plus another 8. Wait, what did I say? Yeah, 19 plus 8 is 27, plus 7, 20, so 27 plus 7 is 34. Okay. 3 plus 1 is 4, sorry. And there's your answer, 44 plus 25. So that would be number or letter A. Okay, almost done here, guys. Bear with me. That was a long one. Okay, so a plumber cuts 2 lengths of pipe measuring 2.8 and 1.4 meters from a 6-meter length. Okay, so we know the total. Okay, well, assuming there was no waste when the cuts were made, what is the length in meters of the remaining piece? So we need to add what he already used, or what he already cut, to 0.8 plus 1.4. Okay, addition. 8 plus 4 is 12. This is 4. 1 plus 2 plus 1. Okay, so he cut 4.2 meters. So out of 6 meters, okay, we know so you always put the bigger number on top for subtraction, because we need to subtract 4.2, which is what was cut, from the original amount. So 4.2. Okay, remember with subtraction, you need to add a 0 here. Okay, with addition, it's not necessary. Because you encounter stuff like this, you need to take 2 away from something. So borrow from there, make it a 5, make this a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. Feeling great. 5 minus 4 is 1. So that is your answer, 1.8. Okay? So Mona purchased the following art supplies: a storage box. Let me erase this real quick before we get into Mona's details. If she was Mona Lisa, we would have went into that first because she's famous. Just joking. Okay. Mona purchased the following art supplies: a storage box for $16.98, a set of art markers for $31.78, and a pad of paper for $6.50. What was the cost of the 3 items? Okay, so that's obviously addition. Okay, when it's asking you the total of those numbers. 98 31 plus 78. Remember, guys, never worry if you find a smaller number like 650. Just need to know you need to line up the decimal points. Keep repeating that just to ingrain it, because that is the point of this. And we are adding. So 8 plus 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. Plus 5 is 15. Plus 7 is 22. 22. We reached the decimal point, so we put it here. 2 plus 6 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. Plus 6 is 15. Carry the 1, put the 5. 3 plus 1 plus 1 is 5. So we have a messy 55.26. And that answer is answer C. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning into this lesson. That was decimal operations. Okay. Again, they're pretty basic. They're pretty much like regular numbers. Adding and subtracting regular numbers. Just have to be mindful of the decimal place and include that in the answer. If you did appreciate it, like and subscribe. Share it with a friend that may be going through GED Math. Stay tuned for the next lesson, because I'm going through all the math courses and all the math lessons in the Kaplan GED book 2019. And this is about lesson 7, I think. So stay tuned for others.